The flights there weren't bad, but once you get there, they just gouge your eyes out.
I have one thing to say to you people. Who's back, 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 again, again. Who's back, back, in the homeland, land. We're back in Puerto Vallarta. Smells like
Fabuloso.
fabuloso.
How was the flight?
It was actually to be one of our longer travel days. It actually wasn't too bad.
We've been up since what time? Puerto Vallarta time?
Puerto Vallarta time, 3 a.m.
Yeah.
It's pretty early. There's my bag, gotta go. Catch you later.
Feels great to be back in Mexico. I made sure to wear my sunglasses today. I knew it was gonna be sunny. Couldn't take 2 days in a row of going squinty eyes around town. About to walk across the bridge, catch a taxi. If you haven't watched our other videos, that's a quick, easy way to save some money. We realized today that we have a friend coming to stay with us tomorrow. We thought she was coming on Friday, but she texted us and said, well, see you guys tomorrow. Which I'm glad she did, because we had convinced ourselves she was coming Friday. So we have a week full of fun, because Hillary's not working, and we'll be showing our friend around town. So we've got a week full of excitement and touristy stuff here in Puerto Vallarta coming up. But today we're talking all about our thoughts of New York City versus Mexico City. First, we gotta get home. We'll see you there. Back home, back in good old Vallarta again.
We're really excited to spontaneously decide to go to NYC because we had just visited Mexico City, and after looking up some population stats, they looked really similar. So it was really interesting to compare the cities since we visited them so recently within one another. Comparing the two cities, this is based purely on our experience in each for about 4 to 5 days.
We'll start in the Department of Museums. Both cities have a ton of museums. I don't have a comprehensive list of either. I'm not sure which city has more, but I do know they are way cheaper in Mexico City. Not only are they cheaper if you are earning US dollars, but I think just proportionate to the overall cost of living, I think they're way cheaper in Mexico City, making them way more accessible. New York City does have on Fridays, most of the museums have some kind of special program that make them cheaper or more accessible. In New York, we definitely felt more comfortable exploring different parts of the city simply based on our ability to speak the language. Now, I can speak enough Spanish to get by, but not enough to where I feel just immediately comfortable in pretty much every situation. So I think Mexico City has a lot more to offer that we didn't explore, just that we didn't quite feel comfortable with. Because we don't know the area, we don't know the language, we don't know some of the customs, but that's something we're working on. So I think with the lack of the language barrier, it's easier for us to explore New York City on foot, to just take off and go places and hop on the subway and see what it's all about without doing a tour. It's a little bit harder for us to do that in Mexico City, just with I think we felt a little bit less confident there for sure.
The sheer volume of people was shocking. So when we were in Mexico City, which we visited first, we just kept talking about, oh my gosh, this is just like New York City, this is so crazy. And then we got to New York City and it was like, where are all the people? So sitting in the center of Times Square, there was a fraction. What fraction, you ask? Maybe about half or less of the masses of people at any given street on parts of the busiest parts of New York City in central Manhattan. There were maybe 50 people maybe give or take, trying to cross the street. In Mexico City, it was like hundreds of people trying to cross any given intersection. So our experience is that Mexico City had way more people.
That said, we were in we were in Mexico City for only like 3 or 4 days, in New York City about 5 days. It could have just been the weekend. So let us know if you've had a different experience. If you visited New York City and Mexico City, comment below. Let us know your thoughts on that. Because I know New York City fluctuates based on the time of year, but for it being summertime, great weather in New York City, I expected to see way more people, but let us know if you've had different experiences there. Well, if there's any area that we can definitely pick a winner in, it's in the price department. New York City was very expensive. The flights there weren't bad, but once you get there, they just gouge your eyes out. Mexico City, I thought was priced very reasonably, very comparable to Puerto Vallarta, at least the areas we were in. Even some of the tourist areas I thought was very reasonable. Again, similar to here, but maybe that's, you know, it's obviously a tourist area here, a lot of the places we eat at. But it just seemed like New York City is definitely one of the more expensive areas in the United States. I'm not sure if Mexico City is one of the more expensive places in Mexico, but I didn't really get that sense. With the prices being so high in New York City, that brings up which city we could see ourselves living in. I think having grown up in the United States, I definitely have a little bit more of a draw to want to live in New York City than I do Mexico City. New York City is just too expensive, and I think for the price you can get almost the exact same experience, you know, with a few changes. At least half the price, even cheaper than that probably. So I think we want to move to New York City at least for maybe like, I think it'd be fun to live there for a month. We got to make a lot more money before we do that. Whereas Mexico City, we could easily move there now, and our cost of living would pretty much be this. It would be very similar to here in Puerto Vallarta, and we could experience the big city lifestyle.
One thing that was very strikingly similar between New York City and Mexico City is public transportation. So both had buses, subways, plenty of cabs. We didn't use the subway station or buses in Mexico City. We used the subway in New York City, but both seem to have fairly simple, easy to navigate mass transit systems.
In terms of the amount of people, Hillary spoke about just how many people we felt like Mexico City seemed to have more crowds, more people crossing the street, just people everywhere. It was crazy. But in New York City, even though we felt that there was less people, it seemed like there was more tourists. So there's more people like walking aimlessly, more people who seemed to not know where they were going, kind of more people like getting in your way or stopping to take pictures, or you know, dumb vloggers trying to vlog while they're walking through the street. We didn't really see that at all in Mexico City. It seemed like, I mean, there were tourists, but it seemed like everybody was either just hanging out at the park, having fun, minding their own business, or going to work, or like everybody was walking to a destination. There's definitely more people in New York City just almost like clogging up the streets, or people that didn't know how to use the subway. So it seemed like Mexico City was actually, even though there's more people, it didn't feel as congested because the people were all just moving. The foot traffic in Mexico City definitely flowed a little bit easier than it did in New York City. Food in both cities was great. It seemed like in New York City pretty much all we ate was pizza and bagels. We liked the food, and both cities are really so different, but both were very bad for the gut. Which city should you visit? Now, to be fair, I'm pretty sure we probably left out a lot of information to do a true comparison between the two cities. So if you visited each, comment below, let us know what your thoughts are about the difference between Mexico City and New York City. Bang for the buck, Mexico City is hard to beat. It's really easy to get to from the United States. You get to see plenty of museums, plenty of sculptures. If you want to almost feel like you're going to Europe, going to a place that just has so much history, Mexico City, it can't be beat. The price, the food, everything is, you're gonna spend way less money going to Mexico City than you would Europe, and it's a good place to kind of almost get your feet wet into traveling. Before you go spend 10 grand on a trip to Europe, try Mexico City first, see how you like traveling, see what it feels like to be in a place where people don't speak your language. New York City is a great place to go if you've whether you're born in the United States or not, there's just so much symbols there that we see in advertising and movies and pretty much all types of media that are easily recognizable. So New York City was definitely a bucket list destination for me. I didn't know Mexico City was. Mexico City was kind of one of those places where after we went there I thought that should have been on my bucket list, but now we can scratch it off. I would say in a lifetime you definitely have to visit both New York City and Mexico City.
We know we just talked the whole video about comparing New York City to Mexico City, but I think the important thing to take away is that we're just so grateful and thankful to be able to travel. And as cliche as it always sounds, it's not about the passport stamps for us. We are really grateful to have visited both places, but it's really fun to dig in and experience authentically what it's like. The overall purpose of travel is not to find the best destination. For us anyways, a big part of travel is about meeting different people, places, and pizza. That, we're gonna leave you right here on our terrace, and we are going to bed. Thanks for watching. Be sure and subscribe. Hit the bell, that way you get notified every time we post a new video. Stick with us the rest of this week. We have a visitor and we're gonna do lots of fun things. See you tomorrow.
Adios, y'all.